Imagine for a moment that the Berlin Wall never truly crumbled. Picture a world where, on this day in 2026, the giant red flag with the hammer and sickle still flies proudly over the Kremlin. This isn't just a fun little what-if game. It's a profound shift in the very DNA of our modern world. The Soviet Union never fell. That one simple sentence would mean the last 35 years of history as we know it would be completely rewritten. We wouldn't be living in a unipolar world dominated by American culture and economic power. Instead, we'd be navigating a planet defined by two colossal competing giants, each with its own ideas about how the world should work, how people should live, and who gets to make the rules. It's a world of clear lines, high stakes, and constant simmering tension. This alternate reality starts with the map itself. The Union would still be the largest country on Earth, spanning 11 time zones: Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. In this world where the USSR survives, the map of Europe looks like a relic from a history museum. The clear, sharp line of the Iron Curtain would still exist as a profound political and military reality. Germany might have reunified, but the eastern half would be a constant source of tension. A frontier state where NATO and Soviet-backed forces stare each other down across a heavily monitored border. Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, forced into a delicate, often terrifying balancing act, trying to maintain national identity while living in the shadow of a powerful Soviet neighbor. The idea of a buffer zone would be central to Soviet strategic thinking. Heavy Soviet military presence in Eastern Europe, not as occupying armies, but as allied forces ensuring stability and loyalty. Local politics shaped by pro-Moscow factions. Any whisper of joining a Western alliance would be met with pressure and threats. Freedom would be a negotiated privilege. Beyond Europe, the USSR's continued existence would reshape Asia, its oil, gas, and minerals strengthening Soviet power. New Silk Roads must navigate a Soviet roadblock, forcing trade onto more complicated paths. With Moscow intact and assertive, NATO becomes a wall, not a club, designed to fight tonight along the German frontier. Forward brigades sit in hardened corridors, air bases disperse fighters to satellite strips to survive first strike salvos. Baltic and Polish ambitions never enter NATO. The front line stabilizes west of the Oder, shifting the Suwałki choke point problem into Germany itself. Missile defenses ring the Rhine. Patriot, SAMPT, and Aegis Ashore equivalents guard logistics bridges and rail hubs. Exercises simulate river crossings, massed artillery counter-battery, and CD against dense Soviet air defenses. Result: fewer NATO expeditionary wars. More money goes to heavy armor, air defense, and munitions stockpiles. Where crises spark, Balkans, Caucasus, and the High North, NATO containment replaces enlargement, fast reinforcement, firm red lines, limited aims. Europe's energy exposure drives protection of pipelines and LNG ports as military targets. Convoys and air cover become routine in peacetime. Outcome by 2026, a smaller, sharper NATO that deters invasions but accepts frozen disputes beyond its border. The United States and the Soviet Union manage rivalry through force in being. Triads intact, alerts routine, hotlines busy. Strategic arms talks cap warheads higher. MIRV counts grow. Hypersonic glide vehicles become normal in both arsenals. In the Arctic, submarines shadow under ice lanes as each side contests sea-launched cruise missile patrol boxes. Proxy wars burn lower but longer. Advisors, drones, and missiles flow, carefully calibrated to avoid direct fire. Ceasefires last because both superpowers police them. They break when one tests escalation ladders, then freeze again. Cyber rules emerge. No strikes on hospitals, grids limited to reversible effects. Violations trigger symmetric responses, not invasion. Space becomes deterrent scaffolding. Jam-resistant comsats, rapid launch recon, and soft-kill ASATs that blind, not shatter. Outcome in 2026, fewer surprise collapses, more militarized stalemates. Civilians live near fortified borders, not active front lines. With Moscow as partner and rival, Beijing hedges, fielding A2AD bubbles while avoiding a break with Washington. In the Taiwan Strait, standoffs are frequent but shorter. Soviet backing deters a blockade, U.S. alliances deter an invasion. Result, routine surge drills. Carriers and bombers appear, then step back as both superpowers guarantee limits. In the South China Sea, outposts harden, but joint Soviet-Chinese patrols replace unilateral moves. Incidents end in escort, not exchange. Central Asia turns into base diplomacy, pipeline security troops, anti-terror brigades, and competing training missions. Technology splits the arsenal. Chinese production scales drones and ships. Soviet systems supply long-range missiles and EW. Integrated air defense thickens. S-300 and S-400 rings, coastal anti-ship missiles, radar nets spanning the straits. At sea, cutters and militia trawlers execute laser-focused gray zone tactics. Escalation ladders are rehearsed and capped. Joint exercises grow. Mixed formations, shared data links, but no permanent basing to avoid provoking a break. Electronic warfare and drones dominate, jammers, decoys, and swarms meant to blind radars and saturate defenses. Routine bomber and submarine patrol lanes tighten the chessboard, but hotlines keep crises short. Outcome by 2026, China rises militarily, but cautiously. Stronger air defense and sea denial, fewer high-risk gambles. The renewed space race is military first. Surveillance drives every ceasefire line, every convoy route, every artillery mission. Rapid launch microsats replace losses within hours. Weather and SAR feeds Q long-range fires in real time. Both blocks avoid debris. Soft kill jamming and dazzling and cyber takeovers blind satellites without cracking them. The digital Iron Curtain splits the battlefield network. Western link-style data links versus SovNet equivalents with domestic chips. When crises erupt, satellite internet is throttled at the edge. Mesh radios and UAV relays keep brigades talking. Outcome by 2026, precision without collapse. Fewer mass offensives, more strike and pause rhythms governed by what orbit can see. For the average person in this alternate 2026, the world would feel more defined and more restrictive. In the West, life looks familiar, but a subtle Cold War anxiety persists. Broadcasts filled with Soviet maneuvers, espionage trials, and tense summits. Soviet villains and Cold War thrillers remain staples. A stronger shared Western identity, perhaps with less curiosity about the other side. Inside the Soviet sphere, citizens trade personal freedom for security, guaranteed jobs, subsidized housing, free healthcare. Access to information is tightly controlled, dissent punished, travel to the West restricted. State-approved art, music, and film promote loyalty. Life is predictable, also gray and constrained. A stark cultural chasm widens. A Moscow teen listens to different music, watches different movies, and aspires to different things than a New York teen. Underground exchanges persist, but risky. Genuine human connection across the divide is rare and precious.